Alright, y'all. So today we're going to be reacting to Mysteries of the Internet by Nick Crowley. Now I just wanted to, see like what video to upload, school starting up. And I guess I wanted to react to something, upload a quick little video before I enter school. Just I don't know, bro. I hope y'all enjoy this video. And yeah, drop a comment below if y'all are going to school or not. All right, I'm out. Let's get right into it. I'm sorry. All right, this is a video. Mysteries of the Internet. Nick Crowley. It's the original video. I'm gonna be reacting to Nick Crowley, bro. I've seen what he did. I've seen what he's done with the Schoolboy 99 stuff, and I don't know. I feel like he's a pretty good guy to react to. Haven't reacted to him in a minute, and let's just get it to Mysteries of the Internet. Okay.
It's the 22nd of November, 2019. A Ring doorbell begins recording as a young girl approaches a home in the Harriet Creek Ranch neighborhood of Texas. It's pitch black out and the girl is seen all alone, which by itself is strange enough, but it's moments later that this footage becomes truly concerning.
But where's she at, bro?
Help, please. Please help.
She was begging for help, pounding her hand against the door, all the while continuously turning her head around, as if she was expecting someone to come up behind her. The footage then comes to an abrupt end, only to start again seconds later. But this entire time, no one answers that door. The wait was just too unbearable for the child as she then took off.
Nah. Bro, but why didn't they answer the door, though? Was no one, like, home or what? Dang.
Yelling incoherently in the street before running out of view of the camera. Frustratingly, this footage was only viewed by the homeowner well after the fact, and reports seem to indicate that this was a property that they rented out rather than lived in, with it being unoccupied on that night. But after seeing the video, the homeowner immediately contacted law enforcement and shared the video online in the hopes that more information would come forward, as it seems that neither they nor the police had any idea who this child was or why she needed help. But since these clips were first shared, these questions have still yet to be answered, at least publicly, as there have been no updates from law enforcement.
What?
Along with this, there have been no accounts from neighbors about the incident or any footage from other homes in the neighborhood, perhaps implying that this was her one and only stop of the night. It's like after this footage, this girl dropped off the face of the earth, with this entire situation being a mystery to this day.
Bro, when was that recorded, though?
Leaving us with only theories.
That's crazy, bro.
The first and most popular theory is that this girl was an escaped victim of kidnapping, or perhaps an abusive household, and had run to the closest home to ask for help. We've seen situations like this many times before, with the most popular example at the moment being the case of Ruby Frankie, whose son escaped their house and ran to their neighbor for help.
Wondering if you could do 2 favors, taking me to the nearest police station. Well, actually, just one's fine.
This certainly falls in line with this girl's behavior, as she was clearly scared about someone or something following her, hence why she kept looking back. And given that there have been no updates to this case,
That's
and that
crazy,
seemingly
bro.
no one else saw her that night, it would indicate that whoever she was running from had recaptured her shortly after. And what makes this theory even more horrifying is that many online users believe that this girl isn't the only person shown in this footage.
Help, please.
As in the background, some can see what appears to be movement behind the bush, and potentially even a figure.
Please help.
And this just so happens to be the direction that this girl is.
Nah, I was just about to say that, bro.
And this just so happens
Bro, she
To be the
literally look, bro, she literally looked right there. She saw the movement.
direction that this girl is looking in every time she turns back, almost like she knew someone was hiding there. Which brings us to our second theory, that this entire thing was a setup. The belief here is that this girl was coerced into going up to a stranger's home to beg for help, so that when this unsuspecting homeowner would open their door, those people who made the girl do this would then rush into the home and rob the person. This could explain why she was looking at that bush so frequently, as that's where this person or these persons would have been hiding, and she was looking to them for guidance, perhaps unprepared for the homeowner not to open their door.
Nah, bro. Or it could be that guy was just too scared to go up. Nah, but nah though. Like, he would have been skied up though, bro. If he wanted to take her. Nah, but he probably wouldn't have. But how would he know there was a camera there? I don't know. Well, look, you don't know. Because it could have been the kidnapper if he knew that there was a camera there. He wouldn't have went up because it would have saw his face. But again, he could have just covered his face. If he really wanted this girl and she really escaped, he wouldn't just be waiting, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it was really the kidnapper, I really feel like he would just like run up and take her, like he wouldn't even care.
Both of these theories are disturbing in their own right, and both clearly indicate that this girl is in need of help, regardless of what the situation is. But still, there's been no confirmation as to what ever happened to this child, even despite the public interest.
Yeah, but why did she run at the end? Why did she run at the end?
The wait was just too unbearable for the child, as she then took off. Yelling incoherently in the street before running out of view of the camera.
Nah, so like, I don't know why she would do that if it was like staged. Like, a girl wouldn't do that much of an act unless if the guy told her to, right? I don't know, bro. Honestly, I don't know. It seems too real. Like, it seems like she really needed help. But I don't know. What do y'all think, bro?
Both of these theories are disturbing in their own right, and both clearly indicate that this girl is in need of help, regardless of what the situation is. But still, there's been no confirmation as to what ever happened to this child, even despite the public interest. One of the biggest talking points online came from some theorizing that this girl might be Serenity Denard, a then 9-year-old girl who had gone missing in February of 2019 from a
She doesn't even look like that.
children's facility in South Dakota.
Look at the eyebrows. The eyebrows are so different. But the ears, though, I mean, I don't know. The head shape is different. Nah, it's not her, bro.
Who looked eerily similar to the child shown in this video. But in my research, I was able to find a Facebook post from one of Serenity's mothers, who shared that they were in fact aware of the video, and that they had actually contacted law enforcement about it. And in her post, she claims that investigators told her that the girl had been identified at some point, and that she had lived in that neighborhood, with there being no further elaboration as to why she was asking for help.
I know it. I know.
This is quite literally one of the only updates I was able to find, but unfortunately, it was one that I wasn't able to confirm, and it also fails to explain what exactly happened to this girl, leaving this footage and this entire scenario as one of the many mysteries of the internet.
Well, she was identified. You literally said that the girl was identified. Nick? Is that your name? Nick?
Throughout my time here on YouTube, I've stumbled across some of the most frightening things on the internet, but one of the discoveries that scared me the most was my own personal information, just out there in the open. It started with a police chase. An officer parked alongside a highway in North Amsterdam had witnessed a black Mercedes speeding down the road and was now desperately trying to keep up with it. But the effort was to no avail, as the Mercedes would soon disappear from the officer's view. And when it would come back into view minutes later, it wasn't moving. It was instead left abandoned on the side of the road, the driver's side door hanging wide open, and the driver himself being nowhere to be seen, leaving that officer alone with the suspect's car, but no suspect.
Or escaped.
However, the vehicle hadn't been left entirely empty, As in the driver's rush to flee the scene, he had accidentally left his cell phone behind, and so the contents of this phone would be searched, which quickly led to the discovery of this driver's identity.
What is that,
so for
iPhone
investigators,
6?
there was a far more pressing finding on that device. A finding in the form of a minute-long video stored on the man's camera roll that indicated that this driver may have been involved in a crime far worse than just speeding.
Oh nah, don't say that, Nick.
Alongside another man in the passenger seat. The camera was focused on a car in front of them, with both men seeming intent on catching up with it. As in the moments before this recording started, something had happened between them, which the men inside this car felt they had to get revenge for. They referred to this unseen incident as an act of brutality by a group of men in this other vehicle, and by the looks of it, it's likely that this car had simply cut them off, as there was a freshly closed lane in the stretch of road at the time, which created an unexpected merge. And this is most likely what this group inside this separate car thought too, as they were showing no signs of road rage, and were instead just casually driving with the flow of traffic. However, it's clear that the men behind the camera felt differently, as in their minds, what this other driver had done to them was so awful that it was worthy of only one punishment: death. The man in the passenger seat brandished a pistol and pointed it directly at the driver of this vehicle. The footage from here is incredibly shaky, and the window had been rolled down, causing the audio to peak and become distorted and indecipherable. Men erupt with laughter and begin celebrating before the recording stops. Based on the footage, it's unclear what happened to the driver of this vehicle or the other occupants, and finding this information became priority 1 for law enforcement. In their research, they determined that this video was shot on May 12, 2014, at around 9:40 p.m., 1 full month before they had stumbled upon it, and it had been taken on the A1 highway near entrance 2101. And yet, when they checked their files to match this information with any of their cases, they realized that there was no record of this incident. This crime had never so much as been reported, despite it seeming to depict a shooting in the middle of a busy highway. To make matters more confusing, police were able to track down the men who took this video and carried out the actual attack, and yet neither of them claimed to know what happened to the people that they shot at, and both refused to elaborate any further, leaving investigators in a strange position. They had undeniable proof of a crime, one that at the very least was attempted murder. They also had their suspects, they just didn't have any victims. And so they studied the footage even more, which is when they made a disturbing revelation about these victims. Throughout the video, the perpetrators refer to the people within this car as a group of men. And while the footage we have today has the occupants' faces blurred, they were able to conclude that the driver was in fact a man. However, they discovered that the passenger next to him is clearly a woman wearing a headscarf. And most shocking of all, in the back seat was what appeared to be a child. Meaning that they had been shooting at what, in all likelihood, was a family. Where they revealed this footage but disguised the voices and faces of the perpetrators for unknown reasons. And in releasing this, they asked the public to come forward with any information that could help identify this family. They asked for witnesses on the scene, car repair shops that may have fixed a car with bullet holes, any hospitals that had shooting victims on or around that day, and most importantly, they asked for the family inside this car to come forward, as without their testimony, convicting these men was nearly impossible, as it wasn't fully clear what crime
it even looked like it went off. It even looked like the gun went off.
That was 11 years ago, and to this day, no one has come forward, leaving us with only theories.
They didn't get shot.
The first theory is that the people shot at in this footage may have been undocumented immigrants, or perhaps one of them had a warrant out for their arrest, meaning that if they were to report this crime, or if they were to have gone to the hospital with a bullet wound, then police would have certainly got involved, and in turn they would have gotten in trouble as well, essentially forcing them to stay quiet, as saying anything would put their freedom in jeopardy.
Back then too?
Another theory is that the shots may have simply missed the vehicle, and the driver decided not to report it, with some believing that this whole situation was no big deal. But to me, this doesn't seem like something that would be so easily brushed off, especially because a child is involved. Though it is possible that perhaps this family was afraid to report the crime, as they clearly knew how dangerous these men were, and feared that reporting this crime would only further put a target on their backs.
What type of logic is that? You know how dangerous these men are? I mean, like, we don't even know, like, did the investigators tell them, like, yo, like, why did you even shoot them in the first place? Like, what did they do to you, bro? Because they said they did something bad to them. Like, bro, like, just tell them, bro, like, what'd you do? Like, And then he tells them that they're too scary, bro. Come on, bro. It's just for now. It's just for now, bro. I can't. Nick, you're wrong.
And finally, there's the theory that this weapon never fired at all. This is where the audio peaking becomes a major factor, as it's extremely difficult to make out the sound of gunshots, as the gun was literally outside of the vehicle when it was seemingly being fired.
Maybe he
But it
scared
is worth
them.
noting that investigators working the case seemed confident that the weapon fired at least once, and I also personally hear a distinct popping sound at the end. For sure. And it also is possible that this group was using blanks, with this all being an attempt to trick the other driver into thinking that he was in danger. But even with these theories, we still have no idea the fate that befell
I just
him
see a
into
spark.
thinking that he was in danger. But even blanks, with this all being an attempt to trick the other driver into thinking that he was in danger.
Wait, I just saw a spark.
Using blanks, with this all being an attempt to trick the other driver into
Y'all see
thinking
that?
that he was in danger.
Bro, y'all saw that spark? Hold on, let me slow down.
The other driver into thinking that he was in danger.
Y'all saw that, right? I'm not the only one. Look, really pay
Tricked the
attention.
other driver into thinking that he was in danger.
That was a shot.
The other driver
try to
into
pause.
thinking that he was in danger.
Bro, y'all saw that. Y'all can't tell me y'all saw that, bro.
Tricked the other driver into thinking that
Flash.
he was in danger.
Boom, right there. That's the shot, right there.
Tricked the other driver into thinking that he was in danger.
Boom, right there, bro. Y'all had to see that. Yeah, I think he did fire shots, but I don't know why, bro. But let me try to get it, bro. I'm determined, bro. I'm determined to get it now.
Thinking that he was in danger.
Boom. What is that? That ain't the headlight. The headlight's up there. That ain't the headlight.
Thinking that he was in danger.
It literally went. Look how
Thinking
slow it
that
is. Look.
He was in danger.
Pow.
But even with
It wasn't the light, bro.
danger,
I'm pretty sure that was a shot. Okay.
But even with these theories, we still have no idea the fate that befell this family, and it's clear that they have no desire to come forward.
They
For
started
reasons
slowing
we
down,
just
too.
don't know. Which leaves the Amsterdam shooting video an internet mystery that may never be solved.
Maybe they just shot the tire and then maybe like they were like, we're not gonna kill these people, but maybe like it was road rage or something happened. So like they were like, oh, let's go shoot the tire. But I don't know if he said let's kill him or shoot him. They said shoot him but not kill him though. So maybe it was like all like this funny video, like we're gonna shoot these guys, these families' tires. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what it was. And then the family didn't report it because, I mean, it wasn't really a big deal. I mean, it was a big deal, but, I mean, like, just, like, tracking them down or, like, something. Maybe the first option. Maybe that's why. Maybe they couldn't report it because if they did this, and that, they were going to keep being migrated back. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, that's the best thing that I can say. Oh no.
Urgent, I need help, please. We are from BSAS West Zone, Castelar, San Juan neighborhood.
Hopefully y'all got your food, man.
Her
5
name
years
is
ago.
Emma Rosario Kalk, who's been missing since Friday, June 12th. If you saw her, please call. Any information will be appreciated. This post was made to the subreddit r/Argentina on June 16th, 2020 by a user named u/Naram, who asked for the public's help in finding a missing woman named Emma Kalk. And in the comments, he would offer more context, saying, "She went out to buy something and never came back. She was last seen here in the neighborhood. Sanchez and Pavan is the area where she went to buy something. She was dressed in the clothes that she's seen in the photo. She was carrying her wallet with her ID and a cell phone." Quickly, the post was inundated with concerned citizens wanting to help in the matter, with the gravity of the situation being made even greater, as earlier that day, Naram had made a similar post, which revealed that
My
Emma
mom.
Kolk was actually his mother.
Nah.
This revelation only made the post more important, as people left comments
crazy.
offering support and encouragement, with many even providing advice on how he could potentially track her down, to which Naram seemed genuinely grateful. Across the entire internet, this seems to be the first post ever made on Emma's disappearance, but it would be far from the last, as people spread this information far and wide almost immediately after Naram's post, which was also followed by several local news reports, which proved that Emma was in fact a real person and was in fact missing, with these articles mentioning something that her son had not, that she was feared to have been taken. The only thing we know for sure is that she went into her house, left her bike, and for some reason went out but did not come back in. Apparently, she did not leave on purpose, and that is what worries us the most. Things were clearly very concerning, and the tension of the situation only increased as a day passed. And then too, with Naram vowing to keep everyone updated on the status of the search. And sure enough, right after this update, Naram's missing mother would finally be found. The worst news: Emma Rosario Kolk was murdered. She had been missing since June 12th. Her son killed her with stab wounds and then buried her in the backyard of his house. He was arrested. Rest in peace, Emma.
What?
Emma Kolk had been found dead, murdered, and buried in her own
own
backyard, with the perpetrator allegedly being her own son, Daniel Kolk,
Go
who
to
had
jail,
confessed to
boy.
stabbing her once in the chest and then twice in the head
Go to
before
jail.
burying her body in the backyard,
Jail.
the motive never being given. The ending to Emma's search was disturbing, but perhaps the most shocking part was the revelation that she was killed by her own son,
This
20-year-old Daniel Kolk, which immediately called into question Naram's Reddit post, as he had claimed to be Emma's son, leading many to wonder, was Naram the killer? And so, desperate for clarification, someone commented, "By any chance, are you 20 years old?" To which Naram actually responded, writing simply, 25. Before eventually leaving the following explanation.
I thought that was after he went to
Apparently,
jail.
it was my brother. That's what the police said when they declared the crime. This would mean that when Naram had been making these pleas to find his mother, in reality, not only was she already dead, but she had been killed by his own brother and buried in their backyard.
That's crazy.
It's one of the most chilling things I've ever come across on Reddit,
Own
but the
backyard.
intrigue of this case doesn't exactly end here, as there was something about Naram's story that wasn't quite adding up.
So bro wanted to get caught, for real.
Just days before the disappearance of his mother, he had left a comment on an unrelated post saying, "When I was 8 years old, I wanted to ride a bicycle without hands, according to me because it was easy. I was on the street, dirt, and I let go of the handlebars, and here I am at 19 years old, with the handlebars marked on my abdomen." In his own words, Naram wasn't 25, but instead 19 years old, and potentially 20 years old by the time his mother was found, which put him at the exact age range as Daniel Kolk.
What?
This prompted a wave of speculation and confusion and spawned the enduring mystery. Who exactly
But
is
he was in jail
Naram?
though, he got caught.
Well,
How
making
did
things
he
even
respond?
stranger, digging deeper into his posting history, you can find another comment where he claims to have been working the same job for 6 years, which seemed to contradict the idea of him being 20, thus prompting even more confusion, which eventually caught Naram's attention, who responded by stating, "I didn't write that. It must have been my brother. I don't use this social network. I only used it twice, for a work issue, and now because my mother disappeared. This account is not mine." This recounting of events made Naram's initial story even more twisted, as if this was true, then not only was it his own brother that killed the mother he was looking for, but he was literally using that same brother's account. And again, this gets stranger. Around the same time, Naram would thank the internet for its help on the case, and then proceed to swiftly disappear, leaving the account untouched for over 2 years. But this silence would be broken in 2022 when they suddenly returned,
I'm a famous
with their
dad.
posts being slightly unhinged, gloating about their internet status, and bizarrely lashing out at random.
I'm worried that you're such an idiot that instead of asking you accept everything Dross says, a poor wretch who lies to get views. But I'm more worried that you think I appeared after a year when what you said was more than 2 years ago. So not even your notion of time is right. And what is absolutely worries me is that I'm going to be your stepfather on top of that. Who is this? Jail.
users who questioned him on his past and present motives. And in these ramblings, he would drop the bombshell that he wasn't actually Emma's son. He now claimed to be Daniel's best friend, writing that he allowed Daniel to make the post on his account to spread the news about his mother's disappearance, which he was completely unaware that Daniel himself had caused. This was the last real update in this case, and it only threw more fuel on the fire of this mystery, with people wondering what version of events, if any, were true. When I hear about this case today, many seem to believe that the entire time, Naram was actually Daniel Kolk, and he had made this post to make it seem like he was searching for his mother, and perhaps to even use any given advice to help conceal what he did. As remember, many were offering suggestions on how to find her, which Daniel in turn could have used to essentially do the exact opposite.
What? Bro, Nick, okay, listen. I don't know if you made that up or the people made that up, but no. Alright? That is not the case. I mean, maybe it is, but how would he even get from finding someone, from trying to find someone, to trying to hide the body, to trying to get rid of the evidence, trying to get rid of the crime, if he buried it in his backyard, first of all, and how this is completely unrelated. This was probably his brother, 100%, maybe.
To help make sure that she was never found. This is tricky because the account posted briefly after Daniel was supposedly arrested.
That's what I'm saying.
The status of this case is entirely unknown to this day, as there have been no updates as to whether or not Daniel was actually charged.
You really think he wasn't charged? Really? Handcuffs. Bro was next to this guy. Unless if that's like from previous, this guy's locked up. Alright?
With some choosing to believe that this was him the entire time, and perhaps he was even held in prison for a few years before being released, thus explaining his 2-year absence.
Nah.
Another theory is that Naram was initially telling the truth, and that he was Daniel's brother, and that he was simply using the account to spread word of his mother's disappearance before eventually abandoning it. And perhaps the most recent posting on this account was because it may have been hacked, which would explain the massive tone shift.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's the most recent version of events that's the right one, and that this is actually Daniel's best friend.
Why?
But why initially lie? And how do you explain the apparent inconsistencies in his age that are found throughout his posts?
And bro was also like, I'm his best friend. Like, that's what they say, bro. I'm the best friend. Like, don't make no sense at all.
This entire internet
person
mystery is
weird,
one of the messiest I've ever come across, and nothing seems to make any sense, with the most inexplicable part being the very real murder at its core.
Rest in peace.
A mother who was killed by her own son for no apparent reason.
Rest in peace, actually.
And given the lack of updates, it's hard to know if justice was ever served.
Justice was served, bro. And I'm only saying that because the picture. Like, I don't know why he's saying that he was there. There has been no evidence found that he has been detained, that he has been arrested, that he has... Bro, maybe you couldn't find him, my guy. Maybe you're just lying for the views. But, you know, it's fine, though, you know. But I'm pretty sure bro was definitely in jail for more than 2 years for his own mother. If that picture was way before, then alright. But he definitely got detained. No cap. More than 5 years. Jail. Rest in peace to his mother, man.
It took several months for Angeline Pete's family to report her as missing.
Rest in peace.
She had a long history of leaving home for extended periods of time, running off to join the circus and hitchhiking rides all across the Vancouver area, before eventually returning home to her normal life. But this time it felt different. None of her friends or family had heard from her since May of 2011, and it was now nearing the end of summer. This was especially odd considering that Angeline was known to be constantly texting, as well as updating her Facebook profile, with that profile now sitting completely dormant. But within that page filled with your typical selfies and normal life updates, there was one post that stood out, the final post she ever made. This photo was posted without context on May 20th, 2011, a day that just so happened to be the very last time that the vast majority of Angeline's friends and family members had heard from her. And when looking into the context of this image, her disappearance only becomes more concerning. That night, Angeline had been drinking with her fiancé Robert Calden in downtown Vancouver, and while the two were waiting to catch a ferry back home, something had sparked an argument, which eventually led to a full-on physical altercation.
No.
This fight caused such a stir that eventually police would arrive on the scene, where they noted that Angeline's lip had been busted, leading to them placing Robert under arrest. Though in the end, no charges would ever be filed, as Angeline refused to give officers a statement and instead insisted on just going home, which led to the whole thing seemingly being dropped. It was directly after this that Angeline would post this photo to her Facebook account, without any sort of context.
You said directly
after this that which led to the whole thing seemingly being dropped. It was directly after this that Angeline would post this photo to her Facebook account, without any sort of context, before proceeding to disappear into thin air.
That's weird.
Her motivation for doing this isn't 100% known, but one could assume that she was trying to make a record of this attack, perhaps in case something were to happen to her. The timing of this is more than a little suspicious, and paints a horrifying picture of the potential fate of Angeline. That she had been murdered by Robert Calden as a result of their fight on the 20th of May. It's a case that seems as straightforward as it is disturbing, but that's only on the surface, as there was another factor at play here, as when the police stopped this couple from fighting on that fateful night, Robert wasn't the only one facing jail time. Angeline was no stranger to abuse. She had a long history of it herself, with her ex-boyfriend claiming to have suffered dozens of black eyes throughout their relationship, which had ended years prior. This violent behavior was no stranger to abuse. She had a long history of it herself, with her ex-boyfriend claiming to have suffered dozens of black eyes throughout their relationship, which had ended years prior. This violent
I probably got 40 black eyes over those years. Once she had 5 or 6 drinks, she had no control. That's crazy.
Behavior often stemmed from her trouble with alcohol, and Robert was clearly one and the same, with the two forming an extremely toxic relationship that often ended in one or both of them getting hurt. It was all too normalized for the pair, which was highlighted by one of Angeline's final texts, where she wrote, "Gee, my lip hurts. I hate him so much that I love him." Now, I do want to make it clear that this is in no way meant to come across as victim blaming, but this is vital information for this case, as Angeline's history with violence had landed her in prison numerous times, most recently in 2009 when she was arrested for getting into a massive bar fight. This arrest in particular is noteworthy, as it carried with it multiple conditions, one of which was that Angeline was given a 9 p.m. curfew, and the other was that she was not allowed to drink, with both of these conditions being broken on the night of May 20th, when police intervened in her and Robert's fight. This meant that Angeline was now likely going to be reincarcerated, and sure enough, that same night, officers arrived at her home to question her on the matter, but she failed to answer the door, which led to a warrant being made for her arrest 5 days later on May 25th. That day, a squad car pulled up to Angeline's apartment to bring her into custody, but when police entered the home, they would only find Robert, who just so happened to be on the phone with her. And officers claimed to have spoken with Angeline during that phone call, where they advised her to turn herself in, though she claimed that she was no longer in the area, and eventually hung up the phone. This would be the last time that officers would speak to Angeline Pete, and seemingly according to Robert, she returned home and left the very next day on the 26th, and never came back. This whole revelation muddies the water in this case.
Wait, so why did they have to wait? Why did the police wait? Like, for example, like they were just fighting, right? So they came up, they stopped, they asked for their name probably, because how else would they know? So you're telling me they wrote it to her name, they checked their file, and then just let him off? And then it didn't show up that she didn't, like, I don't get it. I don't get that. Why they have to wait till like hours or however much days in between that? Like, couldn't they just like on the laptop that they got just search up her thing, like, and then it shows that, like, and then just arrest her right there on the spot? I don't get that. Unless if like 2014 they wasn't around back then. That's the only thing. You know, thank God for technology, bro.
26th, and never came back. This whole revelation muddies the water in this case,
who knows what happened
and provides us with our second theory, that Angeline Pete had run away to avoid reincarceration.
Yeah.
But there's something unusual to me about this phone call with police.
What?
Now, there's hardly any information about this case online, but from all the articles that I've read, it seems that no one in Angeline's life had heard from her after this photo was taken, with the exception of Robert. And when police spoke with her, it was only over the phone. They too hadn't laid eyes on her since the night of May 20th.
Wait.
Spoke with her, it word from her after this photo was taken, with the exception of Robert. And when police spoke with her, it was only over the phone. They too hadn't laid eyes on her since the night of May 20th, prompting some to wonder if Robert had arranged for some sort of decoy to make this phone call. Though however it happened, since that phone call, there has been no activity on any of Angeline's online accounts, and she has never deposited or spent a single cent from her bank account. From that point on, she's been essentially invisible. That was 15 years ago, and today we still have no concrete answers as to what happened to Angeline Pete, with some taking this as a sign that something sinister had in fact happened to her.
She ran
As
away,
how can you
bro.
go that long without leaving a trail, and without at least trying to come back? Especially in Angeline's case, as she was a mother.
Nah.
Angeline had a 7-year-old son who was by far the most important thing in her life.
What?
At the time she went missing, this child was staying with her father, Angeline's former partner, but she still played an incredibly active role in his life, and she wanted to be as involved as she possibly could be. And yet, after 15 years, she's made no attempts to try and reach out to him.
Bro, what?
Again, people have taken this as a sign that Angeline has perhaps been killed. And it isn't just Robert who they think might have done this, as some believe that she may have been killed by someone that neither they nor Angeline even knew. As I mentioned previously, Angeline had a habit of hitchhiking, and she was known to do so in a way that was overtly dangerous. And interestingly, there were some unconfirmed sightings of Angeline after she went missing, with some reportedly seeing her in Port Hardy and Grand Perrier, areas that she would have had to catch a ride to. Now again, these are totally unconfirmed sightings, but what's so chilling about this is that if she had been hitchhiking through those areas, then she likely would have found herself doing so along Highway 16, which is now known as the Highway of Tears. Without getting too deep into this stretch of road is notorious for its disproportionately high number of women who have gone missing on it, and especially Indigenous women, with Aboriginal organizations claiming that as many as 40 Indigenous women have been killed or kidnapped while on this stretch of road. And coincidentally, Angeline was an Indigenous woman herself, who may have found herself hitchhiking on that very road. Angeline's disappearance is one of those cases that you can convince yourself that every theory is right. But as of right now, there's just no way to know what truly happened to her. And while this is an internet mystery for us, for Angeline's family, this couldn't be more real. Many of them are suspicious about Robert and believe that police didn't do a good enough job investigating him, as he was never even considered a suspect. But they also hold on hope that Angeline is still alive and out there somewhere, and they'll often hold events and vigils to keep her name in the spotlight, and to assure she knows that she can always come back home.
I don't know, because if the Tears thing was during 2015, during their time, then yeah, probably. But if it was like the Highway of Tears, if it was like before like 2000s or the 90s or something like that, because that was a newspaper, so that could have been like way before. But also it kind of doesn't matter. I don't know why that specific road is for the women murders, but I mean, I don't know. She probably avoided arrest and then, got murdered, right? Maybe. Or maybe she just ran away, just successfully ran away, but she was like too fed up with things, I guess. But like, even as a mom, like, you wouldn't leave your kid, right? Like, I would assume that, like, obviously not. 7 years old too, so like taking care of him, like, or maybe she was just like so fed up, or she didn't know what to do, she just ended it. But these are only just things that I can say, not really prove, obviously. So all I can say is my theory is there probably been an altercation with the husband or whatever he was. But I don't know, I still don't know why they wouldn't investigate him. Like, that's so weird. Like, why? Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they do that, bro? Like, he was the only one there. He was the one calling her. That's why no one saw them. And you're telling me that, bro, he wasn't investigated? Nah. Please get him, investigate him, bring him to jail if needed. But That's probably one. Maybe it was cause him, and then I don't know. I guess decided to run away from everything. I mean, maybe, but rest in peace if she died, man. Like, bro, actually, bro.
And it's this hope that has fueled her son since she disappeared, as all throughout his childhood he played hockey as a way of helping to find her, with one family member saying, "That's why he wants to play hockey. So if he gets famous, his mom will find him."
It's crazy. Hope he becomes famous for 15 years ago? Or not 15. 2015. Dang, bro. That was a good video, bro. Yo, tell me what y'all think in the comments below, because honestly, I tried to like use whatever I had in order to like figure it out, but obviously it's just a mystery. So all I wanted to say is that you know, these are just theories. These are just, obviously I don't know anything about these cases. I don't know anything about what's going on. So if y'all could have like your thoughts about this, like what would y'all even say about this? And yeah, what do y'all think about it? If y'all could really like break it down in the comments, like a whole paragraph, like that comment that's just like a whole paragraph, bro, and really try to explain like what are y'all's like biggest theories on this? What do y'all think happened? The most reasonable thing on each one, or on just one? But yeah, bro. Alright, y'all. I'll see you on the next video. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out. Peace. Peace.
Cause my name's Gary Cage, you know what I'm saying?